Hello, my friends. Today, a video about mobilization. Yes, mobilization, because the whole purpose of building a strategic narrative is to mobilize people to a new opportunity. How do you do this? It's by building a system of stories that will help you as a leader become a better entrepreneurial leader and mobilize people to an opportunity that makes you excited and makes them excited. Gather people around you, whether they are outside of your community, within your team. And finally, what about yourself? In fact, do you know who you need to mobilize first? Well, you see me fishing for an answer here with that question. The first person you need to mobilize is yourself in your narrative. If you don't start there, how do you expect people to get motivated? How do you expect people to get inspired? How do you expect them to be excited about what you're trying to build? And as an example, I'd like to tell you about myself a little bit. Why am I so passionate about the idea of building a strategic narrative? Is because many years ago, as I was working in corporations in Europe, I found that what we were building were efficient businesses that would also lack a lot of energy, lack a lot of inspiration for people. And I found that all of those organizations I was trying to help really were based on a model that was kind of dead because there's no life, because people don't come to work with their whole self, because they are forced to be in models, in jobs that they don't want to even own. They're just waiting for the next paycheck, the next promotion. They see their career path as a ladder that is predefined for them, and that's it. And you might know what I'm talking about. And so I found that my duty was to revive this. I actually didn't want to be part of the system. I wanted to be outside of the system, and I wanted to revive it by helping people fuel those organizations with better sources of inspiration. And therefore was born the idea of MetaHelm. And MetaHelm's mission today is to inspire people to create better sources of movements, better sources of mobilization for what they do. So the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is because I often get the question. So yes, we want a better narrative for what we do here. We are about change. We're about progress. We're about innovation. So let's talk about who we are as an organization and what people can do outside. And very often people want to skip the individual level. They want to get to the collective. They say, let's align together. We want to have the same message. We want to be, very quickly aligned on the same vision, mission, values, purpose, whatever the statement might be. And if you've watched some of my other videos, I'm not very favorable for the way those statements are designed. I think actually they are kind of counterproductive. The way most organizations come up with them, they're kind of fake and sound hollow. And so most people skip the individual level. They forget that the organization is fueled by a series of individuals first who feel something in their life, in their heart, that is going to help them overcome the struggle of working in business. Business is difficult. Sometimes we face adversity, we face tough decisions, we face uncertainty, and it's a whole process of adaptation for which there is no solution yet. We have to build solutions as we go. So the first place where you need to pay special attention to your strategic narrative is at the individual level and with yourself. So the first person to mobilize within a strategic narrative is yourself. Ask yourself the question, why did you want to work in the business that you're working with? Why did you want to solve the problem that you're trying to solve? What makes you tick? What makes you excited about it? How would you explain it to someone you want to invite to your work? What would make them excited? Try to make a connection with the outside, but first it has to come from the inside of you, the individual level. This is why I recommend that you start with your origin story. Whether you're a founder, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you're an executive at a large corporation, something compelled you to do the work that you do. And you need to go on that quest. You need to go on that research. The work of building a strategic narrative really has two facets, two major facets. The first facet is the one that most people think about. It's the outside, external purpose for the message of a strategic narrative. They say, yeah, if we build this strategic narrative, we're going to be able to communicate outside. So whether it's outside of me or outside of my team or outside of my organization, outside of my whole corporation, outside of my startup, outside of my governmental agency, whatever the place might be. So that's the surface level. That's the visible piece, the visible part of the iceberg. But in building this strategic narrative, you will be forced, you will be obligated to ask yourself deeper questions. Why did we take this decision? Why do we feel like our positioning should be the positioning that we is? Why do we feel like our product should be different in this facet? You're going to dig deeper and deeper and deeper within yourself and within your team. And that's the power of building a strategic narrative. The image, the very common image that we have is an iceberg. The visible part of the iceberg is the outside communication. The non-visible part of your strategic narrative is all the questions that it invites you to ask yourself. And that's where you need to mobilize yourself first. You need to start by asking yourself, why did you start in the first place? And be very specific. Where was it when you realized this? When was it? What was happening around you? What is the triggering event that led you to rethink the way you do your work, the way your industry works? And therefore, what did you decide to do? Because you can be there observing and not doing, be passive and not be doing anything. But what did it lead you to actually want to start? Maybe you started a company that rethinks the way we produce food. Maybe you wanted to rethink the way we connect with people. Maybe you wanted to rethink the way we think about work, about culture. Maybe you're wanting to reinvent the way we do healthcare. And this always starts with a personal observation, a personal commitment to change something that may seem overlooked, insignificant, but that you care about. And this is the seed for mobilizing everybody around you. So it starts there. That's what mobilizing yourself means, is how did you decide to go on that journey? And how do you remember the way you decided to go on that journey? How do you come back to that very DNA seed, deep reason that keeps you going every day, keeps you coming back to solving the same problem, keeps you energized against the odds of failure, against rejection if you have to sell your idea? Start there. Start by mobilizing yourself first when you build your strategic narrative. I hope this helps. I wish you well. And again, I welcome your questions, comments, and any other thoughts you have on this topic. Good luck mobilizing yourself in your strategic narrative.